Hello class. Today we're going to be going over some fractions. Okay, so we're going to start with our first question, which is 3 over 6 plus 2 over 6. So before we can actually start to do the math, we got to go over a couple steps. Our first step is to check for a common denominator. As we see here, it says the denominator is the bottom number. So our denominator here is 6, and our denominator here is 6. And since those are the same number and in the same spot, that is our common denominator. Our second step is to add the numerator, which the numerator is the top number. So our numerator here is a 3, and our numerator here is a 2. Now, finally, once you get your answer, you need to see if you can simplify it. Okay, so now we're going to start to do the math. So we're going to look at 3 over 6 plus 2 over 6 again. So now we're going to add our numerator. Okay, so we're going to add 3 and 2, which is 5. So now that we have that, we pretty much have our answer. Because all we need to do is we need to take the numbers that we added, 3 and 2, and remember that those are the numerator. So our 5 that we got from that is going to be our numerator. So we're going to put 5 over 6. Okay, now we need to ask ourselves, is 5 over 6 in its simplest form? And if you look at it, yes, it is in the simplest form. What are proper and improper fractions? This is just something you need to know for our later questions that we're going to do. Okay, so proper fractions. A fraction in which the numerator is less than the denominator. So an example of that, our numerator here is 5 and our denominator here is 6. So we know that 5 is less than 6. So this is a proper fraction. Okay, now going on to improper fraction. It is a fraction in which the numerator is greater than the denominator. For example, we have 5 over 4. We know that 5 is greater than 4, and we see that 5 is in the numerator position, so this is an improper fraction. Okay, so now that we know about proper and improper fractions, we're going to move on to our next question. Now we see that we have 2 over 6 plus 3 over 6. So we're going to go through our steps again. We're going to check our denominator. So our denominator here is 6, and our denominator here is 6. So we have a common denominator, so we can go on with our question. So now we need to add our numerators. So we have 2 and we have 1. So that equals 3. So 3 is going to be in our numerator spot and 6 in our denominator spot. So our answer is 3 6. Now we need to ask ourselves, is 3 6 in its simplest form? So putting an answer in the simplest form is pretty much just dividing. Okay, so we need to find a number that goes into both 3 and 6. So we have our fraction here and we have our question marks because we have to figure out what number goes into both of them. So as we see here, we see that 3 goes into both of them because 3 goes into 3 one time and 3 goes into 6 two times. So 1/2 or half is our simplest, well, it's our fraction simplified. So that is our final answer. Okay, now we're going on to our next question, where we have 3 over 2 plus 4 over 2. Okay, so we're going to go through our steps again. We're going to check our denominator. Both of our denominators are 2. So we can move on to step 2, where we add our numerators. So we're going to add 3 plus 4. As we see, 3 plus 4 equals 7, so our answer is 7 over 2. Is that in its simplest form? Does anything go into both 2 and 7? I don't think so. So 7 over 2 is our final answer. Okay, but ask yourself, is this a proper or improper fraction? Since we have our numerator is larger than our denominator, our answer is going to fall into the improper fraction category. Okay, later on, you'll learn how to change this and make it into like a different, like almost its simplest form. Okay, so now for your homework, you're going to complete the math problems that will be on the next slide. If possible, remember to put the answer in simplest form. Now, once you have completed a problem, determine if it is a proper and improper fraction, and please write that next to your final answer. Okay, here are your questions or problems. It shouldn't take you too long, so that's good. But remember to put a proper and improper fraction right next to it. Now, good luck and have fun.